Walk with Jesus. If you want to encounter Jesus, you must walk through Holy Week. The events that take place from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday define the life of Jesus. So this 8-part study is designed to walk with Jesus through that fateful week. One peculiarity is that we will start our Lenten study not on Palm Sunday, but on Ash Wednesday, re-examining the idea of Lent as a whole. What of these 40 days, not counting Sundays, which lead us into Holy Week? One final note. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all use Holy Week to share the bulk of their story. This year's study will rely most heavily on the Gospel of Mark during Holy Week. We will use as our primary text a paraphrased version of Mark that I wrote several years ago and have updated and revised periodically. The paraphrase is written in the first person, as if you were listening to Peter tell the story in person. Tradition tells us that John Mark, who traveled with Peter to Rome, wrote down the stories that Peter told him. There is a textual basis for this. Mark's version of Jesus' ministry is much harder on Peter than Matthew and Luke, who wrote later and venerated Peter. Mark's version allows Peter to tell the story with his own shortcomings and frustrations front and center. There is an element of shame at the denial and being slow to embrace fully the teachings of Jesus. I have tried to recapture those as I tell Peter's story and attempt to reclaim his voice. Each study will contain 5 parts. The text from Mark, from the paraphrase just mentioned called A Talk with Peter, a brief recounting of how Mark differs from the other Gospels, an examination or explanation of the text, a view of the text from a personal story or explanation by the author, and finally 5 questions for contemplation. I encourage you to think about these one day at a time, perhaps an evening exercise before bed or at some specific time of reflection during the day. You may wish to also keep a personal journal as you contemplate, and a prayer. I hope you enjoy Walk with Jesus, a journey through Holy Week.